What is good, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. KG is back, and it is time for a new video. We are now set. We know where we are going into the next international break. We are in third place. I want to know what we can do to improve after this break. And I don't mean transfers, people. I don't know. Listen, we can't get a new goalkeeper. We can't get a new striker. Please, what can we do now with this current squad going into the next January transfer window to cement ourselves in the top two, which is where Leeds United need and should be? Also going to speak about Farke's comments on Junior FIRPO's ban and also GNONTO on himself. And he echoes some very wise words that someone very close to you has said. That's me. That's me. I said them. I said them. But before I get into that, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, of course. Drop your thoughts and comments below on anything discussed. Thank you to William Morrison, John Abbott, and Parrot House for the super thanks on the last video. Much appreciated, guys. And a couple of those guys are members, maybe even all three. And if you want to become a member of the channel, the link is in the description. Now, listen, I saw the Sheffield derby earlier, and Sheffield United won that one. It was a decent game. You know, it was scrappy, lack of quality with on occasions with this game. But Sheffield United did what they've done in a lot of games this season and come out with a win. And not only that, we're going to speak about our defensive record, but that's their sixth game in a row where they've won at Bramall Lane without conceding. So as you can see from the table, they're 2 goals better off in terms of defensive numbers. We've outscored them, but they've got 2 more points, which is the key thing here. So them and Sunderland are joint top right now. And that's where the disappointment is for me. I know I'm going to go into a lot of numbers which are good for Leeds United, but for me, we should be first in this league. I'm sorry, this league is so poor. It is so poor. But Lodi here saying nice to go on an international break with a win, but we need to get first place soon. Yeah, top 2 is imperative for me. And look, getting into some of Farke's numbers, and these are all from LUFC data, so shout out to him. You know, when Leeds have scored the opening goal in championship matches under Daniel Farke, this is really good. Games 31, 128, drawn 3, lost none. Goal 70, conceded 10, clean sheets 23, 87 points out of 93. Those are really good numbers. And carrying on in that vein, in our last 6 games, we've faced 4 games. If we've had 4 games where we haven't conceded 1 shot on target, which just tells you how good this defense and the team is overall. Keeping that ball away from Elan Melier as it needs to be. But these are really good numbers. But obviously, there's something in it where we're not doing enough to be clear and far away of the pack, which I believe we should be. And this is it again. We're talking about things from last season and this season. Well, last season at this point, after 15 games, we had 28 points. And that's after a tumultuous start where, players are leaving, players are coming in and everything else like that. Well, it was way more settled this season, way more settled. And we've had a nice run of games as well in the last few, I think so anyway. And we're just 1 point better off. And I look at this tally, and even though people probably can't imagine it or think of it in that way, I think we should be on like 35 points now. I think we should be setting the pace, setting the standard, and just blowing everyone out the water with the quality we have. Because I look at the team that I put out in the first 11 before the QPR game, and there was players that were left on the bench that other teams in this division would kill to have, would absolutely love to have, and they don't have them, but we do, and that's even with the injuries we've got. Yeah, Matt, I'm with you there. I'm with you there. Probably 4 points off where we should be. Yeah, 34, 35. Yeah, I'm with you, absolutely. And what's up to you, Matt? Annabelle is saying 1 point more than last season is nothing to be impressed about. Yeah, and that's where the numbers start looking impressive for me, because that is nothing to shout off the rooftops about, especially when the league is significantly, and I mean significantly, weaker than it was last season. And although we've lost some stardust, this team is no scrubs in this division. It's absolutely not. But we need to turn those things into points. So what can we do to get into this top 2 and cement our place? And this is another thing I also look at as well. Sunderland have drawn the last 3 games. We should have overtaken them in that spot. So how have Sunderland dropped, wins in the last 3? No wins in the last 3, and yet we're still 2 points behind them. That means we are missing something. And one of those things, people, is the away form, which is absolutely honking. It stinks. And even though we only lost our first away game against Millwall, the draws before have killed us. they've killed all the momentum as well. Whereas we've seen Millwall reel off 4 wins in a row, they're fourth against us. We have not done that yet. We haven't got a string of wins in a row, which I know that we're capable of doing, and that would really catapult us above everyone else in this division and moving forward. And even looking at Sheffield United, by the way, I mean, if they had the 2 points that, if they didn't get docked 2 points, they'd be top of the league right now outright. So that just shows you just how well they've been doing. And for me, they're the standard bearer with us in terms of who's setting the pace. I still think Burnley can come back, but we are the standard bearers for me in terms of the squad quality and what you can transfer on paper onto the pitch. Now, the away results in question for me where we've dropped them is obviously the Sunderland one. That's the Elan Melier game. That was nothing on Farke. That was absolutely nothing to do with him. That was a perfect away performance, ruined by the goalkeeper. Bristol City, where people were saying it was a good point. No, it was a terrible point away. Absolutely terrible. We didn't go for the win where the win was there to be got, like Sheffield United did, and why they've got 2 more points than us right now. Those are the margins, people. I was speaking about this so many times last season, and people weren't getting it. And it's not until the end of the season where the dust has settled, and it's like, oh, well, you know what? If we could have done this in this game, maybe we could have got. This is why I talk about it now. People can say it's early 15 games, but you set your patterns right now. You set the tone for your season. And of course, the other points we dropped, Norwich City, I feel we could have won that one. West Brom, I remember that game so significantly because we just lost to Middlesbrough at home 3-0, and Danny Farke was feeling the pressure, and it was evident on the touchline. And we weren't going there to win. We was going there to not lose. And the 6 touches in their box kind of told that story. But Sunderland, Bristol City, for me, are games where we should have won those. Absolutely should have won those. And that's what gets you in that top 2 and keeps you the best and setting the pace. Jack here saying, for us, 1 point is a poor return from any game in this league. I agree, Jack. And again, I'm not deluded to think we're going to win every single game. I can accept we're going to lose games. Of course we are. We're not, invincible. But I'm saying the drop points were more than preventable, absolutely more preventable. Against Bristol City, all it took was just being a bit braver with the tactical selections and going for the win that was there to be got. Sunderland, of course, you can't atone for Elan Melier's just goofiness. That's on him. But those are where the drop points are, and the reason why we are not sitting in the top 2 as we come to this final international break. So obviously the away form needs to be better. Chances as well need to be better. And I mean this on both ends as well, in terms of the final ball for our attackers and also our attackers being on the end of the final ball, because there's been numerous times again where the ball's been put across the box and there's been no one there, and there should be somebody there, but they're not there. And that needs to improve. Our final ball, final pass just needs to be so much better, because we should be putting some of these teams to bed, absolutely to bed. But yeah, Raymond here saying, because I'm worried that we pull away from home and Farke doesn't seem to know what to do. Well, yeah, I mean, that's it on Farke. I mean, I've put it above his head. What more can I do? You could be a little bit more flexible. Read the game. Don't be so rigid with your substitutions. I even take yesterday's game against QPR as one example. Sam Byram should not have seen the second half yesterday. No, not even close. He shouldn't have been there. He was having a poor half to begin with. Then he was on a yellow card, and he still made a couple of fouls where the referee, it wouldn't have been yellow cards, but he was on the edge and he should have been off. But we know with this manager, unless it's an injury, unless it's something like that, he does not change it. And that's where you need someone to be a bit braver, a bit more flexible. I even saw it today in the Steel City derby. Managers going for different things, trying different things in order to try and win the game or try and get back in the game. And unless we're losing the game, that's when the different tactic is there, or as some people say, desperation. We just throw on all the attackers, which is not a tactic for me. That's Football Manager stuff. I do that on Football Manager. Matt saying here, I think even with trusted sub, he's too stubborn on the 70-minute game plan. I agree, and this is something that isn't new. It's a pattern from last season, and that is something else he's going to have to change. We saw there was a couple of changes for the game against QPR, but whether they were the right ones or not, we won the game, so it's irrelevant. But sometimes there could be better changes made as well. And we saw up until the QPR game, the team sheet was just staying the same no matter what. So that's another thing as well, where we just need to he needs to be a bit more flexible in his tactical selections. And with the games coming quick and fast after this break, that's going to have to happen. um, sorry here, Gavin here saying January transfers key now. Send Solomon back to Spurs and get a striker in. Well, again, this isn't the show for the January stuff. I know there's people, especially Gary Hillman, will tell me every time we need a goalkeeper, we need a 9, but that doesn't help in the here and now, does it? We need to work out what to get the best out of this group. Hopefully Ramazani is back. That's going to be huge for us. Ampadu is on track to probably be back in late December, which will be absolutely great. I'm going to speak about him in a different video though. But it's about what we get out of this group, which is more than good enough, people. When I made that 11, there was people saying, nah, I wouldn't drop Aronson. I'd drop so-and-so. Those are the options that we've still currently got at this football club. And by the way, the striker talk, I do agree with people that we do need a forward. I don't even think it's a striker as such. There's a forward that I have in mind, but we're going to have to get Bamford out. Otherwise, there is no other striker because we are not going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 strikers on the books at championship level. I don't even think we do that at Premier League level, let alone championship. Yeah, it's a beautiful picture. I thought I'd take it old school, Ryan. I thought I'd take it old school, man. I was feeling it. There's Batty looking back, you know what I mean? Tanaka at the 10 for me. Slide, we're going to talk about that in a different video, but we are going to speak on that, honestly. Solomon, yeah, I don't know what this name is here, but Solomon was successful at Fulham and Shakhtar. I mean, yeah, but I don't know what your name is here, and I'm assuming that you're an Israel fan, which is fair. But I expect big things from Solomon. I expected big things as long as he was fit. I expected a lot more from Manor Solomon. And even a comment yesterday from a Solomon fan said, I thought he was decent. Decent doesn't cut it. Solomon should be the difference maker at this level because of what that person said about him playing at Shakhtar in the Champions League, being decent at Fulham. He should be the difference maker at this football team. And right now, he's treading water when he's on the pitch for me. I feel like we could be getting a lot more from him, way more from him than we're currently getting. But hopefully, as he gets fitter, we'll see it. But otherwise, we will have to ask that question. Answer that. Well, we'll have to ask that question come December before the January window. We will. Ian here saying, watching that game was painful. Joseph is afraid to shoot. I would love to know on the instances where Joseph had a chance to shoot the ball. I mean, apart from when it led to the Bogle goal, there was hardly any service. And that's another thing that needs to improve. Listen, I don't mind the criticism of Mateo Joseph. You know, I don't. But I need to see more. I need to see him miss chances in order to really criticize him, because when he's not getting the ball, he does drop back deep and try and create chances. And if he's not getting any chances to miss, then I think it's really difficult to say he's not doing enough. And at this juncture as well, I do hold him to a different standard in terms of the other senior pros, like a Solomon or someone like that. But yeah, of course he has to do a little bit more, but also the team has to provide a few more chances for him. If I'm coming on here talking to you guys and saying, Joseph, man, he's missing too many chances, that's a completely different story to saying, where's the opportunities? Where are they? Where are they at this point in time? But you know what it is? No. So yeah, in terms of that, we need to get better in terms of just taking hold of our chances, being better with the creation, and improving this away form. Because, guys, what we don't want to see at the end of the season is this kind of table where we're in the playoff positions. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants it. So yeah. Oh, Burnley. Everyone keeps talking about the one chance for Joseph, and that was that Burnley one-on-one. Unbelievable. But yeah, listen, I can't help you guys. In terms of that, so moving on to the next bit, Danny Farke did speak about FIRPO's ban, and talking about, I'll just say this. He talked about his behavior is not acceptable and he accepts the ban, but Farke says he's not happy that such incidents can be retrospectively looked at when there is no VAR in this league to check on decisions. Cites example of PGMOL admitting they were wrong to award Leeds United a penalty at Rotherham when GNONTO was clearly fouled and injured. Also happy that McNamara is effectively rewarded for complaining after the match when the incident was missed and did not result in injury by having FIRPO suspended. Feels this is not in the spirit of the game. And for me, sometimes Daniel Farke, he plays into the Leeds United Passion Merchants hands with these ones. And they would be loving this. I'm sure there's loads of replies saying, yeah, it's always against Leeds. Well, I go back to simplicity. I go back to simple meanings. And that is, if Firpo doesn't move his head towards McNamara, there's no incident to speak of. There's nothing. So if Firpo doesn't do that in the first place, there's nothing to talk about. So be responsible for your own actions. Then there's no, you don't leave it up to a judge, you don't leave it up to a panel to then give you a ban. Simple as that. Firpo should know better, being a senior pro at this level. He should know way better. And I but Farke knows what he's doing with that kind of message. He's doing that whole us against the world thing. But I will also say as well, the PGMOL will be probably writing to Stoke City and saying, we're sorry about that. You should have had a penalty. Because I don't know if you've seen the Stoke versus Millwall incident. It is not just Leeds United, people. Stoke City, the player, I need you to see it as well, people. Stoke City literally had a player about to shoot the ball, and the Millwall player just pulled him down. As in, it's not even delicately, it's not even slight. He just grabs him and pulls him down. Referee doesn't give a penalty. I'm sure Stoke City will get an apology for that. So it's not just a Leeds thing. And as I pointed out before, retrospectively banned. Danny Farke should have been aware as well that the Preston striker was retrospectively banned after biting the Blackburn player Owen Beck. So it's not just unique to Leeds United, but you know how you avoid those situations. Don't do stupid things. It's as simple as that for me. I'm not going to just be all Leeds heavy and say, yeah, the EFL against Leeds United. That's just moronic. It is. It's just silly. Firpo, don't move your head towards someone and then you don't give them a reaction to react to. Simple as that. So yeah, that is it in terms of my thoughts on what Farke said there. It just he knows what he's doing sometimes with the words that he uses, much like last season in terms of you either a believer or a moaner or doubter, where that worked out well for you. So he knows what he's doing with those kind of passion merchant speeches. In terms of Willie Nonto, Willie Nonto spoke to BBC Leeds after the game yesterday, and if you were listening to me on my match reaction, I said about Willie Nonto that he's having to get used to a new role. He's being doubled up on, and he hasn't figured it out yet, much like Somerville did and Jorginho did last season. Well, Willie Nonto after the game said pretty much the same. I don't like to say I'm a genius, but sometimes I just be knowing. That's why I'm here. You know, that's why I speak the way I do, because I see things and then I call it out. And Willie Nonto said the exact same thing that I said yesterday. He said that the season's been going all right so far, but he does know he needs to improve. He does have 2-3 players on him, which then opens the space for other people. But he knows that he needs to get used to this new role that he's got. I literally said that yesterday after the game. Literally said the same. So it's good that Nonto knows that he's doing okay so far, but there is much more to come. And I do believe that as well. I think once we get on a real run of games without these stupid international breaks breaking everything up, I think he's going to work it out and he's going to get his numbers up. I feel like his numbers should be better also. But yeah, he is. He's getting doubled up, tripled up at times, leaving spaces, but he's not getting, the cookies for himself in that respect. But yeah, yeah, exactly, Ryan. Nonto has become the one to concentrate on for other teams. Yeah, he has been. But like he said, he does leave spaces for other people, but then he's not utilizing or getting the best out of himself. So I do expect Willie Nonto to improve as the season goes on, and I'm looking forward to seeing that, because he is going to be vital for us this season. His form, when he's on fire, we've seen it already last season. We've seen it already a little bit earlier this season. He's kind of tailed off in the last few games. But when he's on fire, there's not many better than him in the league. There isn't many better in the league when he's on a point. People saying about Schmidt in the chat. Yeah, Schmidt was playing with a point to prove. Yeah, and he does, Chris. He does have a point to prove, because Farkes called him out publicly. People asking about him. People asking why. And this is on Farkes' thought. This is through his eyes. I can't say whether Schmidt's been good in training or not. Maybe Schmidt thinks he's been good. Maybe he thinks he's doing enough. But when the manager's coming out saying that you need to do a bit more, then it's on Schmidt to do that, to make that step. And after the break, we've got 2 games where FIRPO is not going to be here for. He should be knocking on the door and saying, I need to start against Swansea. I can start against Luton Town. Give me the chance, boss. Give me the chance. So he's got however long they've got. Maybe they've got a few days off next week. In terms of time off, and then they're back in training before the game. He's got ample opportunity now to impress Farke in training and say, no need for Sam Byram, play me instead, Gaffer. and it's on him. Obviously, it's on Farke to select him, but we know Farke probably will stick with Sam Byram. But it was a real good cameo from Schmidt. You know, you can tell that he's got the goods to play at this level, but it's about Farke and interesting him in starting games, which is important because he's played probably a total of 15 minutes during his time here, which is obviously no good for anybody, especially for Isaac Schmidt. And we're not getting the best out of him. Yeah, he's too much of a. Yeah, he did. Yeah, Willie did get the same treatment in the Premier, which people do forget. Hank saying here, would you ever play Nonto in the false nine? Yeah, I would. I would play Nonto in the 10 slash. He can be the 10 shadow striker, false nine, second striker behind Joseph or Peru, whoever you want to start. I think he works really well there. Some people saying in regards to Solomon, I know the Solomon fans saying that he's good in the 10 role as well. But I think Solomon would have been brought in for the left wing spot because we were looking to move Willie into the 10. That was the whole plan at the start of the season, if people remember rightly. So, yeah, for me, Nonto was doing really well in that 10 spot until obviously the injuries picked up with Ramazani, Dan James. Then he had to go back out to the wing again. So hopefully we see Nonto back in that 10 role at some point. Yeah, Jack here saying Farke will probably select Byram and play for a draw versus Swansea. I hope that's not the case. Like I say, for that game, I will be in transit for that one, probably be at the airport by then, but I'm going to try and bring out a video before I hop on the plane. Hopefully. So yeah, so there it is with Nonto, and I'm glad that he can see that his improvements to make, which is great. Just another bit of news that's been doing the rounds as well. We spoke about Greta Steinson, who's left the club, and they're not looking to replace the technical director. Well, Jordan Miles, who's been here maybe for a cup of coffee right now, he's going to be replaced by Alex Davis, who's being promoted to head of recruitment by Leeds. So I don't know what this means for the bigger picture. I won't even hazard a guess what it means, whether it means Farke is going to have even more say when it comes to transfers. And maybe you don't see some of the players that we see him bringing in and not being used. Maybe that could be part of the reason. But yeah, there's just more restructuring going on in terms of the recruitment. Still got Jordan Miles there. Still got I think it's Adam Underwood and what's the name, Hannah Cox. There's still a strong team there. It's not like there's no one in those positions. But yeah, just another chair shuffled in that recruitment department, which is very surprising for me now. I thought with Greta Steinson, I didn't think that was much of a big deal. I said, okay, there's still a team there, but now another one gone. It's kind of like, okay, so where are we going here? Is it going to be what's the plan here? Is it going to be manager based? Is it going to be a director of football? Are we actually going to go for another technical director now? I guess we'll just have to stay tuned for behind the scenes. But what I will say is that I hope they're ready for January because there is work to do. There is definitely work to do come January time for this football team. You know what I mean? Gavin saying Steinson being too Spursy. What was Alex Davis before? He was an analysis, either tactical analysis or performance analysis. I'm going to go with tactical analysis. Either way, he was an analysis before he got this promotion within. So, you know, fair play to him. Just got to get these recruitment things right. It's important in January. We've got stuff to get. We've got stuff to do. But yeah, we'll see what we do in January. Was it only the summer? I had a feeling it was. Are you sure about that, Gavin? Because I don't know, but I know it's been very, very soon that he was here. I didn't look it up. Maybe I should have looked up before I come on stream. I know he hasn't been here too long, which is why it was just so weird to see that he's departed already. So it does make you wonder what's going up on top. So yeah, let's have a look. Yeah, I mean, look, Cookie's the one passion merchant that I allow on here. Cookie here saying, let's see where Leeds are by Christmas and Boxing Day, then we can all have a word because Leeds should be top miles by then before we have a conversation. Or we can have a conversation now. And I always say this as well: if the conversations aren't for you, don't watch. You know what I mean? You don't have to watch if the conversation is not for you. If you think it's too early, don't tune in. It's as simple as that. You know, YouTube, I'm not making you watch, but there are conversations to be had because we was having these conversations last season. It's like, oh, no. We'll do it in the next 3 games. We'll do it by here. We'll do it by here. And we're still here, you know, so the conversations are there to be had. You know what I mean? But Cookie is a real passion merchant. So salute to you, Cookie. But yeah, listen, people, that is it for the video today. Let me just check though, because I did this before and I didn't talk about Junior FIRPO. Let me just check all my tabs. Yes, I've done everything, people. So there's the video for today. And listen, Thank you for joining me today, and thank you for watching replay. If you're watching it, like the video before you go. Drop your thoughts, comments on anything I've discussed today. Subscribe to the channel if you will, and I'll see you in the next one, people. Peace out.